see the time?
No, it seems we are live.
Cool.
Oh my God.
So let's test it.
Let's test it first.
No,
Yes,
yeah.
it's happening.
Now it's happening.
Look, let's check this out.
Really delay there. Huge delay.
It's a huge delay.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but we have one viewer, so it means we are live.
Okay.
Finally.
Cool.
Okay, this is going to be interesting because we kind of ran the entire interview and we realized we weren't really live.
Yeah. Right.
So it was. I mean, I love to talk to Brett. For as much as possible, but we kind of went through a 30 minutes interview, and where we share our personal feelings about a number of things. Things got awkward in this
They did get really
weird
awkward.
couch, which, as I understand, is part of the FleishmanHillard package when you sign in.
Yep. When you
So you get medical insurance, the couch,
get the couch,
the
this
lunch
is part of the deal.
vouchers.
It's part of your first point of negotiation. Is the red
Okay.
couch. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be so weird because we basically ran these.
Interview already. We're gonna do it again. It's gonna be way
Just for
better.
you. It's going to be way better.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty awesome, but you know, nothing is as good as the first cut,
Right.
the first take. Brett, you are the digital and social creative lead at FleishmanHillard Brussels.
Yep.
But you're also American, so you can give us a transatlantic perspective
Yes.
on so many things.
Yep.
Listen, can you tell me, most of the people that watch this product are actually people interested in getting into the communication business in Brussels.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about, how you came here, what was your career path at the beginning, how did you end up here?
Yeah. So the short version of that story is that my wife is Belgian. So
it's all about the love.
It's about the love. So we came here. That was one way to come over, and then once you're over in Brussels, what else is there to do really as an expat than to work in EU affairs, right? So and then I studied here in Belgium, European studies course, like many other people, in Leuven actually, and ended up going to the U.S. mission right after school, and then went to New York for 3 years, worked for a few governments, the Canadians, the Flemish government, and then came back and had to kind of find my way back into the bubble, because the bubble doesn't quite know who you are after you've left.
Exactly.
And ended up calling what I've been doing for my whole career communications.
Yes.
And now I'm very sure that that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
So because everything's communications if you want it to be, especially if you work in communications and can communicate how it's about communication.
This is the line we always use.
Yes,
This is the line we always use. When my mom calls me and she's like, "Marco, but what actually do you do?" I do communication. And communication is everything.
She's okay, I understand.
It's like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, but so there was your story. So you worked for quite a number of different organizations.
Yes. Yeah.
And finally, you came into the Euro bubble, this trendy word that I always use in my products. It doesn't mean anything outside of the area between the metro station of Arlois and, let's say, I'll give you Montgomery even, not even Schumann. And basically, what are usually your clients as FleishmanHillard, as a creative person, as somebody that provides communication services? Who are your main clients?
Yeah, I think Fleishman has this reputation as this kind of old school lobby shop where we do corporate lobbying, and a lot of people think that, but what we actually do is much broader than that. So we do have corporate clients, but we have trade associations, NGOs, international organizations, patient groups, everything. So we have a lot of sectors, and then my team works across all those sectors to do whatever is needed on the communications front. If it's digital, social, if it's a creative campaign, it's a video. That's kind of where we get in. So it's not necessarily one thing or the other, or one type of client versus the other. It's pretty broad.
Okay. Okay, but listen, one question that I think many people will have is, do you wear a hoodie only on Friday, or is it like your thing because of Zuckerberg? Are you trying to find your own brand? Steve Jobs had his turtleneck. Is it? Are you something we don't know?
It's really a Friday thing, I have to say. So we do have the Friday casual day. I think when you're on the creative team, you get to be just a little bit more casual than everyone else during the week. Okay. So that when you get in the room with the client, you've got one type of person, and then you've got us. Yeah. And everybody understands how we're a little bit different and why that's a good thing.
I totally agree. When you see people in an office and you see somebody who's slightly more casual, the line is always like, it's the social media people, it's the comms guy, it's the Twitter people.
Right, exactly.
That's what maybe not even my boss, but my grandma No,
Okay.
I don't know if my grandma uses Twitter, but I'll ask her. Maybe she's more up to date than I think about. But
you should get her a hoodie.
oh, she would look awesome with a hoodie. I mean, total, badass North Italian grandma.
Is she Nonna?
Or she is a Nonna.
Nonna with the hoodie. Yeah, I mean.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that can be an amazing TV series. Yes. But back to reality.
Do you like Soundgarden? I'm just kidding.
That's another topic we're going to go through later on.
Okay, Spoonman.
And I attended one of your amazing, these 5 days of digital sessions you run. You ran one this year. You ran one last year. Lots of people came from different backgrounds. This is what I was interested in because I expected a lot of people from the EU institutions, but actually it was from people from any kind of business, from trade union associations to lobbying to EU institutions, but also a lot of private business. And you mentioned this principle that I admit I take sometimes. I always credit you, don't worry. It's the fact that we live in a thumb scrolling society.
A little higher.
So basically, this is what people do all the time. Myself as well as a social media addict, and basically, we are in a society where everybody providing information that we see in our feeds, whether it is Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, are competing for one action from the users, which is thumb stopping.
No.
Can you tell me more about how you came about this and like what is behind this theory? Thumb scrolling and thumb stopping.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to just how people are keen to consume information now. So obviously we have a shorter attention span, and we take information in through feeds of some sort, right? Everything is through a feed, and we're just used to this thing that is infinitely scrolling through. And as an organization or a brand or whatever, if you're trying to get someone to pay attention, then you've got to get them to stop scrolling, right?
Yes.
And so thumb stopping, right? So literally that's how they're doing it. This is the ritual that you do while you're learning things,
Okay.
So you've got to get it to stop, and if you can get it to stop, that's your first way in, right? You've got, depending on the social platform or whatever, we always talk about like a 3-second audition on Facebook. You got 3 seconds to reel them in, and if you can do them in that first 3 seconds on Twitter or whatever it may be, then you've got them hooked, and then maybe they'll stick around for another 10 after that.
Okay.
So you've got about 15 seconds to say everything you need to say.
So basically you're telling me that everybody that provides information through social media especially are competing for that action. So
exactly,
it's like, I think about, the 8 athletes in the finals of the 100 meters, and they're competing for that first place. So how do you make it happen is the key. And what I would like to ask you is, are these what clients are looking for already, or it is something that you make them aware of?
Yeah, I think, in terms of what they're looking for and what the answer is, sometimes it's that. Sometimes they need to be on a social platform.
So tell me what is your experience in that?
So they may come in and say, look, I have a certain issue, or I have a reputation problem, or I'm trying to reach a certain very specific audience with my content or with my message. And then we'll say, all right, how can we package that in a way that's interesting to that audience, topical, visually appealing, all the things that people that are well known.
Well, they're well known maybe to communication professionals.
I mean, at the risk of making it all about how do you make great social content, that's like a separate discussion, and I think it's just one piece of the whole. So how we do that is just strong visuals, clear messages, simple stuff. It's a no-brainer. So we have to have that conversation. Then there's the approval processes of, can we say it that way, and shouldn't we have legal look at it, and should we run it by the board? And the answer is no, don't let anybody see it, especially not the lawyers. Lawyers doing comms, not good. So sorry, lawyers. But so there's that question. But that's not to say that the solution to every problem is something that is social or digital.
Yes.
It's about getting the right message to your people and to your audience, and however you do that, whether it's a phone call or if you knock on their door to talk to them. If you show up at their doorstep, and it's kind of weird. But if that's effective, and they're okay with it, then you should definitely do that. You don't have to do any thumb stopping if you can actually speak to a person, which is why it's good to talk to
This
real
is fantastic,
people,
and this is something you brought up a number of times also in these seminars. Social media is not the answer to everything. Not because you tweet something, your content is going to go viral. Or your campaign is going to reach a number of people. And I think this is the challenge of our business, to make people aware that all the communication should be considered as one. Whether there are different actions, which could be a phone call, a handshake, an informal coffee, a Twitter avalanche, or a Facebook paid advertisement campaign, it's all part of one communication.
Exactly.
So as I understand, so basically most of your clients have clear in their mind what is their mission, also because they might have spent months thinking about it and having their own brand, so it is clear who are the people they want to talk to, but they come to you and people like you to find out how to get there. Can you mention an example where that fascinated you, that inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, I could one example that, and I won't pretend that we didn't just talk about this in the other interview, but one that I really like to think about is this very small volunteer-run patient group, and they were looking to figure out what they could do in terms of communications, and they had lots of crazy ideas. I'll probably need stuff, right? Everyone always thinks about this stuff, or video, or info, or we need like a PowerPoint template, right? Like, no, you don't. So what I got together with them to do was to think about what do they want to change for people who have their condition? What's that one thing that they can change in the next 3 months that maybe that would make such a big difference in their lives? So what we got together in a room on Sunday at an affordable motel outside of Brussels to do.
Which sounded a bit awkward if you don't put it into
affordable motel. It was a nice hotel, and it was during the day. And the lunch was sandwiches. But what we actually got down to was the concrete thing that they could do, the focus. So I'm not sure how I forgot what your question was, but the point is if you've got your big mission,
you're answering.
That's very lofty. Great that you have the mission, and your mission is like change the world, but like figure out what you can do right now that is really specific in changing the world. Even Zuckerberg, who has this giant mission of changing the world, and where does Facebook fit in?
Exactly.
He's still, with the Zuckerberg, I think it's, Chan Zuckerberg Foundation, to figure out what exactly they're going to do. So you can go on saying we have these big goals, but then there's the people who have to say, all right, what's today's goal? Like, what's this year's goal? What's this quarter's goal?
Yes.
What's the path to achieving that, that bigger goal?
You know what? Sometimes in this page you talk about fitness, because I see a lot of parallels between fitness and communication.
Okay.
What you mentioned exactly is, when people approach a coach and they say, I want to have a better body, I need protein, I need supplements. Like, the supplements is the last thing you need to make a visible and significant change to your body. But people just tend to think about that quick thing that might save everything. So I need to have more followers, I need to be on Twitter, I need to be everywhere. While actually what you have to do is to think about the mission, and then trying to get knowledge on how to achieve it. And in my experience, you gotta get somebody to help you. So this is where people like you come into the game. So you get them the knowledge to achieve their mission. And talking about that, and I'm going to put you on the spot right now, what are the necessary elements for successful communication? Again, let's pretend we didn't just do it about 10 minutes ago. And Brad, out of the blue, what do you think would be the 3 main tips, the 3 main key words?
Right. What were they? You have to remind me, because I
just focus.
Yeah, I was kidding. Focus, right. So the first one was focus. Just like I said with the example, it's just trying to figure out the thing that you can actually do, and I'm going to speak to the camera right now.
Yes.
Hi, camera. So, welcome to the show. We can see ourselves. So focusing on the thing that you can actually get done, and not just trying to, fix everything right away, because, you can't. So focusing on that one thing that you can actually achieve.
Exactly.
The next one, what was the next one?
The next one was mission, which is...
It was creative vision. Creative vision, yes. So if we all, people like us who work in comms within our organizations, and then not to say that we are misunderstood, but many people who work in comms are misunderstood, and they have difficulty explaining what they're doing within the organization, why that matters, and that takes, it's really on us to go off and say, I know you want me to do the PowerPoints and the stuff and the infographics and the annual report, but I see it so much bigger, and we need to step out of that little bubble of just making stuff and say, actually, guys, we can do so much more here and make a big difference.
Yes.
And it's up to us to to convey that creative vision, right? So that we understand what we're doing. Like if we can't explain it, that means first of all we can't do it. No one's going to let us do it, right? And no one will ever understand, right? So you got to have to go in and advocate, and get energized and get people excited, and then they'll follow you, right? Or at least they'll join you, not follow you, but they'll be part of that. And if they're all bought in, then you can really do the work that you want to do. And the last thing was measurement. So if you want to be able, say you got everybody on board because you're like so excited, and they're like, okay, we'll follow you off this cliff, right? If they follow you off the cliff and at the bottom there's no payoff, right? Yes. They can't say that, okay, well we did what you said, and okay, now, so what happened? If you can't say what happened and measure that back, or map that back to a business objective or an organizational objective that has nothing to do with followers, impressions,
exactly,
any kind of jargon. If you can't do that, then your glory will be short-lived.
Right. Yeah. What I like about this is that you are really taking communication management like business management.
For sure,
Let's say that profit, it might, as it is conceived on a business term, for us it would be visibility or reaching the right audiences. So you're really analyzing how a communication campaign and strategy is played out as if you were running a business.
Yeah.
And this is fantastic. But listen, for many communication consultants, the challenge is to make then clients, which clients not necessarily might have to be people that pay you. It might be your hierarchy. How do you make people aware in your hierarchy, in your clients, let's say, using this broader term, that is not just about the numbers? What would be like a piece of advice you would give to people in this business to make their clients aware it's not just about the followers, it's not just about the number of comments and mentions, it's about creating something more than that.
Right.
What is your advice?
Well, first thing I would say, if you do work in a business that is for profit, then you absolutely should try to put $1 or €1 figure on what you're trying to do.
I like that.
If you can, and just say how you are affecting the bottom line. But then that doesn't help everybody in the institutions or everyone who says we don't do it for money. Then it becomes a little bit more complicated, and it requires a lot more selling internally and a lot more energizing. And if you're in an organization that says, okay, we're not we don't have profits, we're not doing sales. We're supposed to do awareness or something. I don't know, reach and engagement or something. That somewhere. It was written down, therefore we must do it.
Or
that's
something.
been decreed, right?
Or something.
Well, that's the problem, because they'll say or something.
Okay, then I'm launching hashtag or something.
Yeah, or something.
And,
that's
we'll see what our people might say about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're in that situation, then you're going to have to. Then you really have to. That's where the creative vision really comes in. You have to bring people along with you so that they feel like that they're part of something bigger than what they thought. So they're not just making a little thing. They're not just ticking a box.
Yes.
They're trying to change hearts and minds, or they're trying to let people know, or that what they thought about something isn't actually true. That is measurable to a certain extent, and becomes more measurable the more money you have in terms of measurement. But I think what you have to do is tell that a very clear internal story of, guys, what we're doing is not making stuff. So if we have 5 videos or 10 videos or 0.5 videos, that doesn't mean anything. If they got this many views or that many views, that doesn't mean anything. It matters in context, but the big picture is that we're trying to move someone from thinking this to thinking that, or they were feeling this, but now they feel much better about that. I lost it. So now they feel much better, right? Or now they're going to do something on our behalf. So think, feel, do is something that my boss, James Stevens, always talks about. So we have the power. It is our trade. And think of it as a trade, right?
We'll get him in next time.
Yeah, you should. And I've stole that from him, think, feel, do. So what do you want your audience to think, feel, or do?
Okay.
And
after listening to you.
Yeah, whatever you're doing. With them, so your objective is to get, change this, but, if you can get people to feel something, wow, I mean, that's pretty cool that you, at your computer, have got people to feel something, right? Like they're watching something that you did, or maybe it's not at your computer, but you're giving a talk or whatever, and they have an emotion, or they have like a goosebump moment, or they get some chills because of what you did, and now they think differently about something.
Okay.
That's what you should be striving for, and get your whole organization behind that feeling, like that's what we're doing. And then they're like, well, but we don't have enough video, and like, enough. Listen, step back from me, right? Get zen, get mindful for a second, right? That's not what we're doing here. We're doing something much bigger, and you should be excited about that. And if you're not, That's too bad for you, because I am.
But you know, before we end this talk, I want to ask you the $1 million question.
Yeah.
You know, the communication consulting business now is highly, let's say, entrenched with also motivational speaking.
Okay.
You know, so you see all these
Really?
yes,
Okay.
you know, I see that on all social media, all these communication stars giving kind of the same talks lately. You know, you got to be motivated, dedicated, which kind of means nothing.
Yeah.
You know, then you know, people that give proper recommendation on specific actions. This is what matters.
Right.
Now, how do you then, as a company, hire a proper communication consultant? What do you think are, you know, guys, I would like to recommend you this guy because this isn't that. What do you think clients should look for when they hire a communication consultant?
Right. So
I would say trendy glasses should be one.
€100, Ace Tate, Antwerp.
Okay.
Yeah, good deal,
so
right?
Should I put? Should I tag them in the post?
No, don't.
Okay.
No, maybe they'll send me some more free glasses. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah,
Okay, you give me
cool.
the name later.
Yeah.
So apart from the fashion tip I just gave, what do you think clients should look for when they hire a communication consultant?
Yeah. So what I would say, and I've been on the client side too, so
Exactly.
I have a point of view on this, and also, you know, I would say, first of all, you want to find people that you can build with, you know, so someone who you don't. It works both ways a little bit. So you got to find chemistry, just like with any working relationship.
Yes.
You guys you want to spend time together a lot, right?
Which is highly neglected, I think.
And you want
as
to,
an aspect.
and what I think you really want is that relationship of we are both communications professionals. It's not like I'm the client and I pay you, therefore you do what I tell you, right? So if you just want a service provided, then you can probably just go to a very specific service provider. If you need an infographic, then you go to a graphic designer. Then you have to do more of the work, what goes into it, write the copy, do more of the thinking, and you say, sir or madam, just draw this.
I think that's
just
fantastic
design
advice.
That, right?
That's fantastic advice.
So you really want to have the relationship, so you feel like you're part of the same team. The dynamic where it goes wrong is where if you feel that you know the agency you've hired is just there to jump when you tell them to jump. And then they're not going to be happy because we all want to do this work because we love the work.
Yes.
So you want that kind of vibe. If it feels like a service provider thing, it's not really a consultant anyway. It's a service provider, and that's what I tried for our team not to be, and for the firm not to be as a whole. We're there as strategic counsel, and we're there to work with you. And we try to just establish that dynamic in the front because that ends up being, you know, producing the best result.
So you would encourage people to hire a team member to achieve that mission they work for, instead of a mere service provider.
Yeah.
I think that aspect is highly neglected because most of the time, you know, you want that service to be done, but then I think it benefits both parties to be aware of what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. So I think that's fantastic advice, and you know, I gotta give credit, you know, for your first point, the point of focus. We gotta give credit to The Rock.
Yes.
You know, also, I mean, very inspirational character. He works out at 4 a.m. in the morning every day. You know.
Wow.
You can see him on Instagram. And yesterday I went to watch Fast and Furious, so I gave a spoiler alert, a spoiler before, which I'm not gonna give now.
Okay.
I felt a bit emotional, and you know,
I understand.
It's a movie. It's a set of movies that changed my life somehow. No, not really, but just maybe I was having a bad day, or I was just cutting onions and I was crying. But anyway, and other things I wanted to mention. Yes, I mean, I was kind of shattered, you know, to hear about Chris Cornell's death yesterday, and I'm gonna do another live talk just about the way he inspired me, you know, as a guy who was brought up in a tiny village in the north of Italy. The fact that I used to listen to Super Unknown CD version, I think I played it so long that it wouldn't work anymore.
Wow.
So that CD from 1994 changed. I think I listened to Black Hole Sun, or I fell on Black Days at least 1,000,000 times.
Makes me want to go upstairs and listen to it right now.
Yeah.
I have to tell
Shall we?
I forgot about Black Hole Sun.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go to one of these record stores in Brussels.
Okay.
I'm gonna find
a
huge, you know, like the classic record from whatever I can find, and we're gonna cry our hearts out.
Okay.
Well, maybe let's.
And every stagiaire in Brussels is like, who are they talking about?
Oh my god! Last thing, I mean, when people tell you, I was born in 2000, like, what do you mean?
That's not possible.
That's not possible.
No. That's way far in the future.
People are not
the future.
People cannot born. People cannot be born after, I would say, 1999.
No. I just don't believe it when I hear it. I think
world population stopped after. I think it's fake news. Yeah. Okay, talking about fake news, we're going to have another interview on this topic. Cool. Probably next week, Brett.
Oh, really?
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you for the Nespresso.
Yeah.
It wasn't George bringing it today, but he was busy. Okay, so I'm gonna post everything, every related link we mentioned today. I'm gonna post Brett's work, links to the presentation you gave about thumb scrolling and thumb stopping.
Okay.
It's something I use very often. I always credit you. Don't worry. If I don't credit you, probably I'm sorry about that.
Hey.
I gave a training yesterday. I didn't mention that.
You used every one of my slides?
Jeez.
We'll send you the invoice.
It was to 6 people. Six people. It's okay. Okay.
It's a community.
Guys, stay tuned and see you next week for the next interview. Ciao.
Bye-bye.